Okay, good morning again. Thanks for being here. As I was saying, we'll use a chair for class today, and a couple blankets. You'll need those as we get going. For the moment, you just need a comfortable seat. Yeah. I'm just looking at the list of names so I can take you in when we're meditating together. Yeah. So nice. Thanks for being here. All right. You can rest your hands in your lap and close your eyes. We used to say, like 20 years ago or so, another day, another downward dog. You know, like they say, another day, another downward dog means, yeah, we keep doing it. So you can rest your hands in your lap. Let your eyes close. Whatever your life excursions have been since I last saw you, which might have just been yesterday afternoon, whatever those things have been, they have influenced your body and given you opportunities to practice your yoga. And then you arrive here with a formal opportunity to practice this kind of yoga, the yoga of asana, pranayama, concentration. So while those influences will still be in your body, see if you can set aside the thoughts that go to the past activities, and also set aside the thoughts that would go to the future activities. And then allow your breathing to be an anchor for you. So the inhale, you can drop the breath down into the pelvic bowl, the pelvic basin I sometimes call it, and let the breath rise up mid-back, sideways, back of your heart, the front of your heart. And then the exhale. For just now, you're not doing really active asana. This is not a dynamic moment in your practice. So let the exhale be an ever-increasing sense of tone, going from the pelvic floor up the low belly towards your navel, but not a sense of it having to be sort of ferocious in any way. Now, as you notice what's happening with the breath, as you experience either its smoothness or its choppiness, as you notice its pattern, so deep and complete, circumferential or somewhat partial, or in some places in the body, permission, other places less permission. Whatever you're noticing, let that be informative. Not worthy of judgment, but worthy of exploration, and to be respected as information. And then please bring your hands together at your heart. And you can notice how this gesture also influences your mind. Bringing the two palms together, where does your attention end up? This morning we'll chant the Gayatri mantra. Let's begin together. Om Bhurva Suvah Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimoi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayata. Om Bhurva Suvah Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimoi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayata. Om Bhurva Suvah Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimoi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayata. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om. With your exhale, you may bow your head to your heart. And release your hands. Please open your eyes. And while you're sitting up straight and tall, wrap your right arm around behind to hold your left elbow. And lift up through the center of your heart. Tip your left ear down towards your left shoulder. And bring your chin in towards your right collarbone. And then open your chin away from your collarbone. And so what you might do is use the exhale to bring your chin in, lengthen the back of your neck, and you may use your inhale to open here. And you might again be getting the information from your body, now in the form of sensations in the muscles of your neck. So in this information gathering, what we're doing is taking the risk to know something about ourselves that if we just lived more at the surface of our life, we wouldn't know it. So not only do you have the sensations and the information, but then you have your relationship to what is being offered from your body. Now the next time that you're going to bring your chin down towards your right collarbone, go ahead and stay there. And then bring your chin across towards your left shoulder. And back towards your collarbone. And keeping your head tipped to the side, you can think of your chin as being a little bit like the grandfather clock, the pendulum. And I encourage you not only to notice the sensations that you're having, but also notice the sensations that you're not having. It's like if there's a place of freedom in your body or a place of ease that's happening right now, let yourself notice that too. The next time that you've got your chin towards your right collarbone, release your right arm, let your left arm dangle also, and float your head back up to center. So, for example, you could notice the absence of having a toothache. I mean, you're here for class, so I'm guessing that you don't have a massive toothache right now. Okay, wrap your left arm around behind. You can hold your right forearm. Tip your right ear towards your right shoulder. Bring your chin in towards your left collarbone. And then we go on this diagonal. So you could let it be delicious. Perhaps you could feel fortunate that you're not an ostrich or a giraffe with an extra long neck or a flamingo. You just have this neck. This one to take care of. And the neck and the head together, they give us, metaphorically anyway, our capacity for a range of perspective. We're able to look around, rotate, change our view. Let's go one more time up on the diagonal. And then bring your chin down towards your left collarbone. And rotate your chin across to the right. And then back towards the collarbone. And do that a few times, again, slowly, as if the grandfather clock. And for each piece of information, including the information of where you're not having difficulty, like the absence of toothache, or maybe the absence of migraine, or the absence of earache. And I'm only making that guess that since you're here, you're not having those symptoms. Yeah, the next time that you're going to bring your chin towards your left collarbone, then from that place, release both arms, left arm, right arm, and allow your head to come back up to center, as if it's floating up, like when you push a ball down under the surface of the water and then it floats up when you release your pressure on it. Now reach back and interlace your fingers and give a good strong squeeze of your shoulders back, almost like your arms are going to disappear like mine just did. And then raise your chin. And bring the chin down, but keep your shoulders back. And do that again. Inhale to go up. And exhale, chin down. One more time, inhale. Squeeze the shoulders back, raise your heart, your throat, and your chin. And exhale, chin down towards your throat. And then release, please. Okay, so we're going to be stepping into Surya Namaskar, Sun Salutation. And after that, we will be using a chair for some specific things in your practice. It might be helpful if your chair, if your balance is a little bit less than stable or confident, it might be helpful for your chair to have a place where it's supported at the wall. So just give you that piece of information. Please come up to standing. I'm going to change my spotlight, so just a moment, please. Okay, and now, there we go. Okay, so when you come up to stand, this is for Surya Namaskar. Let me change the angle of my camera, which you guys know I have to do it every day, every class. So let's see, straight and up a little bit. That'll be good enough. Okay, so step to the front of your mat, and a reminder for those of you for whom your hands don't clasp easily behind you, what you're going to be doing is using a yoga strap, and you make that strap so that you could put your wrists back there, or you can hold the strap with both hands. Okay, join your palms together. You press into all 10 toes, energize your heels, the mounds of your toes. And as you lift your arches, inner and outer, and imagine like you're bringing the yoga tights, or the silk long johns up, the muscles are coming up to tone towards the center of the pelvis. And then from there, go inwardly, upward through the spine, to the roof of your mouth, to the crown of your skull. And now inhale, hands down, palms out, raise up. And exhale, chair pose. Inhale, rise up, Urdhva Hastasana. Root into your feet, rise up through the inner body. Exhale, bow forward, keep your inner thighs, inner arches, outer hips toned. Inhale, glide forward. And as you reach forward, open your throat, bring your chin forward. And then exhale for a deep bow towards your legs, Uttanasana. Inhale, rise up, sweep your arms wide. Now as you exhale, open both arms wide, turn your gaze to your right as far as it goes. Inhale up to center. Exhale, open both arms, turn your gaze to the left as far as it comfortably goes. Inhale, rise up. Chair pose. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Uttanasana, keeping your legs stable. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Left toes back, basic lunge. Inhale to rise, crescent. Exhale, open the arms, gaze to your right. Press your left shoulder and left thumb back. Inhale, rise up, look up. Exhale, airplane pose. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Step forward, heart forward. Uttanasana. Ardha Uttanasana. Right toes back. Inhale to rise. Exhale, open your arms, gaze to your left, squeeze the right shoulder back. Inhale to rise, look up. Exhale, airplane pose, keeping your legs steady. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Step forward, heart forward. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, rise up, Urdhva Hastasana. Look up, please. Exhale, hands to your heart, gaze at your fingertips. And close the eyes. So as you move the head about, you get this opportunity to shift perspective while keeping your balance. Let's go again, we're going to add to the sequence. So inhale, Urdhva Hastasana, gaze up as your palms touch, bring your eyes up to meet them. Exhale, Utkatasana, chair pose, gaze down and forward. Inhale, rise up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Bring your heart forward, stretch the chin, lift your gaze. Exhale, left toes back. Inhale to rise. Raise your gaze up as your palms touch. Exhale, open your arms, gaze to your right. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, warrior two, gaze to your left. Inhale, keep your warrior two, bring your left arm around so your left thumb stretches towards your right. And then exhale, open to your left. Again, inhale, reach forward. Keep warrior two so you're really stretching your upper back. And then exhale to open. One more time, inhale, sweep your left arm forward, keep the legs very steady. And exhale, gaze left. Inhale, side angle pose. And on this one, exhale, raise your left arm, gaze down, sweep your left hand alongside your left hip. And then inhale, raise your left arm towards the ceiling, past your ear, gaze up. Exhale, open your left arm, gaze down. Inhale, raise your left arm, gaze up. And now exhale, lower your left arm, place your right fingertips back on your block, left fingertips on your block, and inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, heart forward, gaze forward. Exhale, Uttanasana, enjoy the symmetry. Inhale, glide forward. Exhale, right toes back. And inhale, rise up, crescent lunge. Gaze up. Exhale, open your gaze to your left. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, warrior two, gaze right. Now inhale, sweep your right arm forward, but keep your warrior two. So it's not that you're moving other parts of the pose. Exhale, gaze to your right. Inhale, reach and gaze forward. Exhale, open to your right. And one more time, inhale forward. Exhale, open to your right, gaze to your right. Now place your left forearm, inhale, Parshvakonasana. And exhale, as you gaze down, sweep your right arm alongside your right hip. Inhale, raise your right arm, gaze up. Exhale, open your right arm, gaze down. Inhale, raise your arm and your gaze. And then exhale, lower your right arm, place your left fingertips on the block, right fingertips on your block, and inhale backwards to downward dog pose. Now in your downward dog pose, it's symmetrical, and you can start by gazing back between your heels. So your head is centered. And then keep both arms stable. Lift the base of your skull so you've got some tone in the front of the throat. And very slowly move your gaze like the grandfather clock. Just gently as far as your gaze goes left, as far as your gaze goes right. Yeah. Notice what range of motion your neck has. Also observe the rhythm that you're choosing to move your head with. Right? So it doesn't need to be staccato. I like to say more gelato, less staccato. So more smooth, not more choppy, if possible. And then bring your head to center. You have your hands on your blocks. Inhale, come forward to plank pose and gaze down between your thumbs. Lift the base of your skull again. So what you have is, you know how parents used to say they had eyes at the back of their head? Imagine you do have eyes at the base of your skull and you're gazing gently up towards the sky. Now turn your nose to your right, center, left, center. Can you keep the rest of the pose stable? And as you turn your nose right, keep a sense of length at the back of your neck. So when your nose comes to center the base of the skull, the eyes at the back of your head are still lifted. And go left and center. And then touch your knees down, please. And reach backwards to child's pose. Bring one block in for this child's pose. Rest your forehead at the front edge of the blocks. And place your palms face up so it's like pranam. Now we're going to do the hands clasping sun salutation in just a few moments. So while you're in child's pose right here and your head is supported, and that's very important that your head is supported, reach back and clasp your hands at the small of your back. And just take notice, even if the arms are just resting right there, how do you support your head right now? If you very gently press the forehead down, you're going to tone the front of your throat. So keeping that internal tone, it's not tightness, but it is tone. Then squeeze your shoulders back. Squeeze your shoulder blades towards your spine. And raise your arms only so high as your shoulders are not pushed down towards your mat. And keeping that gentle tone at the front of your throat. And then release both arms. You place your hands, press yourself up. And let's take a look at this sequence with the hands clasped at the small of the back. So place your blocks forward. And inhale, plank pose. So we're going to go in reverse. Right? Exhale, downward facing dog pose. Now exhale, left foot forward between your hands. Come back into your Ujjayi breath. Interlace your fingers. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, gaze to your left. Pull the right shoulder back. Inhale, gaze forward. Exhale, warrior two with your legs, but keep the hands clasped. Rotate your nose as far as it goes to your right. Keep the left shoulder back. And then Parshvakonasana with the hands clasped behind the small of your back. You may gaze up. And then you can keep the right shoulder back and gaze down. Now let's go up. Warrior two, gaze to your right. And side angle pose, gaze down. Roll the right shoulder back. Inhale up, warrior two, gaze to your right. Keep your left outer hip strong. And once more, side angle pose, gaze down past your left knee. Keep the right shoulder back. Release both hands to the blocks and step backwards, please. Downward facing dog pose. And then exhale, right toes forward. So not only are you practicing changing your perspective, but we have shifted your capacity. Clasp your hands, rise up. So you have to rely on something more subtle, not more gross. Like the arm making the action is bigger. So these actions are smaller. So let's inhale, look up. Exhale, gaze to your right. So level your head first, then gaze right. Now inhale, warrior two. And rotate your nose to your left as far as it goes. And side angle pose. And gaze down. Roll your left shoulder back. Rise up, warrior two. Left shoulder stays back. Rotate your gaze to your left. Side angle pose. Gaze down, left shoulder back. And rise up. Gaze forward at first and then rotate your nose to your left. And last one, side angle. Gaze down. And bring your fingertips to the blocks. Pivot your left heel up. Inhale, step forward, heart forward, Ardha Uttanasana. And exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, rise up. Upward hands pose, Urdhva Hastasana. And exhale, hands to your heart. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine the eyes at the back of your head. They're at the base of your skull. And give a little lift to the base of your skull. There'll be a gentle sense of tone at the front of your throat. And release your hands, please. Now, you recall from the first part of class we did this little gesture where you reach around and you hold the opposite forearm. You can do it on both sides. You probably have the difference left to right. We all do. I'm going to ask you to get your chair now, and keeping that gesture in mind, we're going to be using it. The chair work that we're going to do right now is going to be primarily for your hips, legs, and pelvis, and it is going to involve your balance unless you want to put your chair up against the wall. And let me recommend that you have either some padding here at the upper back of the chair, or you're wearing leg warmers and you can pad the back of your Achilles. Also, if your chair and you, like my chair height and my hamstring flexibility, this is fine. But for some people, the upper back of the chair is going to be too high, in which case you can use blocks to make a position here, or you can go like this if you want to. And sometimes people are able to get like to this spot, but they can't quite get up there. So please make choices based on your body's capacity. And stand on your left leg first, and take your right leg up over the upper back of the chair. I'll just have a sip of water while I'm balancing. Where I put my foot here, I am on the back of my Achilles, so I can point and I can flex, but I also know it's stable enough, and I can rotate my toes out. That's an important thing. And I can rotate them in. We're not going to do that, but I don't want you to have your leg up on something so high that you can't manage some of these basic functions, because it would tell me that your hip won't be happy here. Okay. Now as you're standing, let's put the left toes at just a tiny angle in, so mostly straight ahead. Take your right hand and rotate your right thigh out, and press your right hand down, and then go inwardly upward to the crown of your skull. And lengthen from your right inner thigh to your right inner heel. Try turning your right knee and your right toes very slightly out. Tone your left butt, please. Left side hip too. Now as you keep your right hand supporting, so you're pressing down and rotating, now take the left arm around to hold your right wrist, if you can reach it. And make a little side bend to your right. And gaze to your left. So maybe you feel the right inner thigh is lighting up. How nice. Or you could sense that where you have your left shoulder rolling back, a little bit of residue there, so you say good morning to that. The difficulty for you might be turning your gaze to your left. Keeping your left leg strong, root your tailbone down, take the left arm out, palm face up. Sweep your right arm towards your right foot without having to look at it. And then begin to side bend over your right leg. And see if you can continue to gaze to your left. So you're kind of looking under your left tricep for the moment. Root down from your left outer hip into your heel. And then gaze down while keeping your left arm past your ear. Open your left arm, keep your gaze down. Reach to your left as long as you can, opening the left side of your neck. And then roll this back up to center, please. And step your right foot down. And then change sides so you can step up. I'm going to change my chair. And place your left foot up on the upper back of your chair, or on the stack of blocks that you have made for yourself. And check again that what you have is, you have some mobility at your foot, so you aren't locked out in your hip socket. And the right foot can have just this tiny angle in. Okay, strengthen your right butt and your right outer hip here. Take the left hand at the top of your thigh right here and press down. Press firmly down there. And let's use that downward pressure to go internally upwards. Yeah. Lengthen your left inner thigh. Wrap the right arm around to hold your left wrist. And make a little side bend to your left. You can gaze to your right. I'm not worried how far can you go. I'm interested in you keeping a kind of integration between the many actions and also kind of greeting the unfamiliar. If this isn't something that you've done before, can you greet it with a steady gaze, a curious mind? Give yourself the freedom now to raise your right arm out to the side, left hand towards your left ankle, and begin to raise your right arm past your right ear. Gaze under your right tricep towards the ceiling. Now open your right arm, and as you gaze down, notice the right side of your neck. And roll yourself up to standing, and step your left foot off of the upper back of the chair. Come to mountain pose for a moment. Notice how things are feeling. I'm going to ask you to watch here because I want to show you a little two variations. So let me move my setup to the other side. So it'll be your right leg that you're watching. I'm going to mirror you. So when the right leg goes up again, it's going to be on the upper back of the chair. And the position, I do want you to have some mobility at your ankle, so I'll have a sense that you also have some mobility at your hip. Okay, so on this one, you're going to keep the legs steady. And the right hand goes again to the top of the thigh. And we're going to bow slightly forward, but you're not going to bring your right knee or your toes forward. And then we'll roll that back up. And watch just for a moment more, please. So this position, remember in Warrior 2, I said, oh, let's bring the arm, but not rotate the hips. What we're going to do here is bring the arm forward, but not the hips. So you're going to have to sense what's happening all across the back of your body there towards your foot. And so these two positions, we'll do them here because it's more efficient. Efficiency does matter. So take your right hand to the top of your right thigh. You can place your foot up if you haven't yet. Okay, and be steady, right leg and left leg. Gaze down and just come very slightly forward. Doesn't have to be a lot. Try to keep your right knee and your right toes pointing up towards the ceiling. And we aren't really leaning the hips backwards. It's that you're rotating your pelvis over the top of your left thigh. And root your sacrum and your tailbone down. Energize your left leg, your standing leg. Bring yourself upright. Sweep the arms wide. Now we have this, we're kind of in our plumb line here, a little bit like mountain pose. So place the right fingers where they happen to land. And without rotating even your abdomen or your pelvis or your legs, try to get the upper back, the chest and the heart to come forward. And then open it up again. So what you have is this freedom when you're opening. And then rotate across once more. So keep your left outer hip stable, left leg stable, and even the lower belly is still turning left. Try to stretch the left mid to lower back, upper back, shoulder. And then we will release and step your right foot down. And notice how things are feeling. You might feel like a zigzag or like, oh, right leg, very alive, left mid-back, alive, and the other parts might feel like a little bit dull. Let's change sides. You can just change on your chair. I'm moving so I can keep seeing you in your pictures there. Okay, so left foot up. Take the left hand to the top of your left thigh and rotate your left thigh. It's called external rotation. Try to keep the pelvis stable so the tailbone actually is going down. And this forward rotation isn't like the tailbone gets unhinged. The pelvis does come over your right thigh, but please don't be lax about it. And then root down, roll your pelvis down, tone your right butt and right hip, come upright, sweep the arms wide. Now not really turning from your pelvis nor from your lower belly, bring your right arm around, reach towards your left foot. And then open it again, it will feel like a lot more freedom. Good, and one more time, reach across so that you're not turning your pelvis or your lower belly. Try to get the mid back, mid to right, upper back. And then releasing, step your left foot down, mountain pose. And just check in and see, okay, what's happening now? What is the information system providing you at this moment? Okay, now I'm going to ask you to sit with your chair behind you, and how you're going to be sitting, how many blocks, how many blankets you sit on will be based on your shoulder flexibility. And I'll show you with 2 blocks to sit on to start. And I'm going to recommend that you do pad the chair if it's metal. And then take a seat with your back facing towards your chair. Like this. Okay, so that chair for me is this is going to be a relatively easy reach because I know my shoulder flexibility can do it. And part of that is because I'm sitting up on 2 blocks. So I'm going to ask you to also reach back, put your knuckles, the sides of your thumbs, the sides of your wrists on the chair seat. Sit on 4 or 5 blocks if you need to. Roll the shoulders up and back. Raise your heart, open your throat. And bring your chin down, keep the chest and heart open. Raise your head to neutral. And then float your hands up off the chair and let both arms dangle. So they should not reach the ground unless you're an orangutan or you're sitting on like 1 block or 1 blanket, then you might reach the ground, but otherwise let the arms dangle. Cross your Left hand to your right knee. Twist to your right, and you can reach back to hold the opposite side of the chair. Try to keep your hips and pelvis stable, so you're actually rotating now at the mid-torso, at your heart, at your thoracic spine. Gaze over your right shoulder. And then rotate around to face forward. Cross your right hand to your left knee. Lengthen up through your spine and twist to your left. You can hold where you're able to on the chair, of course. So some of you will hold the first leg of the chair. I'm holding the second leg of the chair. Try to keep your hips and pelvis stable. So if you look back at your knees, they should be equal, that you haven't really turned your pelvis, your thighs, your knees. We're trying to get the twist into your upper back and your heart. And then exhale to release. And once again, let your arms dangle, or this time you might choose to rest your wrists and hands over your knees. Okay, and then we're going to be exploring now the beginning stepping stones that go towards the shoulder stand pose. And I'm going to be working on these stepping stones with you because as an online community, I have to pace our development, our progression towards what I would think of as an intermediate to advanced pose. So I have my 2 blocks and I have a blanket. I'm going to suggest that you take 2 blankets folded like this and place them so that your 2 blankets are lined up on the round edges, not on the fringes. We don't need the chair at this very moment, so I'm going to put that aside. Okay, so the blankets, you're going to have your shoulders at the edge of the blankets and your head is going to be on the yoga mat. The 2 blocks, I want those to be kind of close by so you can reach them. Now here's a little clarifying point. This dimension from your shoulders to your hips might mean that for you, those blocks are going to have to be like somewhere between you and the blankets. I don't want your blocks to end up like this, in other words. I don't want them to be crooked on the blanket and to be unstable. So for some of us, this distance, the blanket is going to feel too long for your hips to end up on the blocks. In which case, you then fold the blankets. I already know this is the case for me, so I fold my blankets like this. And that means that I have the same height that I had a moment ago with the 2 blankets, but I'm not likely to have these blocks run into my blanket, so then they're going to end up like this once I'm lying down. Okay, so I put these aside, and then when you lie back, you lie down so that your shoulders are at the edge of the blankets, right here, and that you can check that with your fingers. The shoulder about an inch from the edge of the blankets, and then please pick up your hips, and I'm going to recommend that you put the flat block, and then you can put the medium or flat block. So here's 2 flat blocks like this. I got hair in my face, hold on. It's in my mouth actually. And here is a flat block and a medium block. And I know that that's stable because I've done it many, many times, and I can feel the edge of my block is not tipping off of the bottom block. So then you have the hips supported right here, the sacrum on the top block. And you have the arms and shoulders with the blanket underneath them. Let's put the arms in what I call robot pose and press your upper arms actively down. Now when you come into your position and you make your choices here for how you fold your blankets and how you set up your blocks, once you're in, I'm going to ask you to keep your gaze just straight up towards the ceiling and then down in towards your heart. Press your upper arms firmly down against the blankets. Lengthen your tailbone towards your knees. And keep the strength of the upper arms, the action of the upper arms. So that's an important consideration. You'll need that strength if you're ever going to do shoulder stand with stamina. So now we'll raise just the right leg for anybody who wants to take the next step. And what that would mean is that you lose no strength in the arms and shoulders. Your eyes remain steady. Your breath is still calm. The mind is not striving. The right leg can go up like a little decoration. It's now called one-footed candlestick pose. If everything is quiet and calm on the inside and you've raised your right leg, you can now lower that one down and take the left leg up. And we don't want there to be any fluctuation or crumbling at the foundation. So check the strength of your shoulders, your upper arms. Your elbows are not the thing that has to be strongest, because if the elbows push down more strongly than your shoulders will push up like a little seesaw. So think of your shoulders and your upper arms. The elbows will be there, but they're not your primary focus right now. And then you can touch the left foot back down if you raised it. If you've simply been in supported bridge pose, Setu Bandhasana, that's okay too. Now we're going to tippy toe and take the block out from under, just the top block. Leave the other block where it is and lower your hips down to that block. So your hips won't go lower than your blankets. Reach your arms overhead and scooch off the back of your blanket just until your shoulders go off the back side of the blanket. Notice what changes with the breath. And then lift your hips and take the other block out from under the back of your pelvis. Lower down and roll to your side. And come up to sit where you can see me. So now you have a sense, I hope, how to use these two blankets. You also had a sense of, I hope, what I meant by not having the butt go lower than the blanket, so it's not in a deficit, which is like it's not down in a little pothole between the blankets and that block that you were just on. So I'm going to ask you now to accept that deficit, that the butt is going to be lower as you try to get your shoulders to the edge of the blankets again. And when you're here, you check once more, okay, there's the edge of my blankets. And then you are set up to put one block flat under the back of the pelvis. Okay, so we're kind of where we just ended the last one, except we've added this chair. Okay, so the benefit of the chair is that you're going to be able to hold the toes of the chair here. Don't go up with your head turned to the side, please. So when you hold the toes of the chair, you're then going to tuck each shoulder under vigorously, and I will show that. And then we get to press up to a kind of supported bridge halfway to shoulder stand. So Let me take my glasses off. So when I hold the toes of the chair, I'm going to go just a couple inches up, and right here I get to recalibrate the shoulders. And I don't have that much weight on my shoulders because my legs are bearing quite a bit of the weight. And then up you go. And your voice tone would sound kind of normal, not all pinched at the throat. To tuck a shoulder under, you put weight into, let's say, your right foot and shoulder, and you curl the left shoulder under. And then you are in supported bridge, needing more active participation from you, but still called supported bridge, sometimes called supported shoulder stand. You're on your way to shoulder stand. We're not going up to shoulder stand from here. We are experimenting at this level. You can bring your gaze towards your heart, so you're gazing down past the bridge of your nose, tip of the nose towards the heart. And again, keep the upper arms strong so they have a responsibility. It's not just that you've scooted your shoulders under as demandingly as you can and then they stay. I want you to press the shoulders down and practice the strength of that. And then start lowering your hips. Do not roll the shoulders out at this point. Lower your hips down like a little back bend until your hips find the block and your shoulders will naturally roll out of position and scooch back until your shoulders just fall off the backside of the blanket. With your hips on that block, something that's kind of nice is that the block now lets the knees tip in towards the chest and gravity supports them. Stretch the arms overhead. Now, I know I've got a couple of you in this class who are in the bendy-wendy genetics, which I am when it comes to my hamstrings, but not my ankles. So if you have this craving, which I'm having, you can take the toes and come to, this is called Supta Pashimotanasara. And to those of you who are not in the bendy-wendy genetics, it might seem kind of unfair. But just think of, all creatures can do slightly different things, and you can do things that I can't do as well. And then let's take the toes back to the edge of the chair. Now, if you pick up and put that block aside, now when you scoot back, I'm going to ask you to scoot back until the top of your sacrum is at the base of your blankets. Just so I can stay on the screen, I'm going to move mine. And then you can tip the chair if you need to support the ankles, shins, and knees. Put the arms in a position of surrender. And please come to your Shavasana, supported Shavasana. Now in Shavasana, let the eyes get quiet. In fact, if you have an eye pillow, you can use that, or if you have a pratyahara blanket nearby, you can use that. For those of you who were in class yesterday afternoon, the restorative class, you could put the 2 blocks and the sandbag. And since we did move the gaze about and the head, looking for that perspective shifting that our lives need, now in Shavasana, I'd like you to gaze inward and to keep your eyes relatively still. That may be a practice for you. For every time that the mind goes to some thought, hither or thither, the eyes will tend to also get activated. So see if you can consider keeping your eyes still. Now, as your eyes become still, invite that to influence the mind to become still. You could imagine your body receiving the benefit of that stillness. Invite the eyes to remain still or to come back to stillness. If the mind wanders, you can use the eyes to help. Invite your whole body to be still. We're going to rest in stillness for another minute. So let the eyes become even more contented with this stillness. Now bringing some awareness to the benefit of stillness in the mind and the body. And glide your knees towards your chest. And bring both knees down to one side. Often we go to the right. Use both hands to bring yourself up when you're ready to a seat for meditation. And when you come upright, see if you can practice again the quality of stillness in the eyes, that they aren't moving about, planning the future, reviewing the past, but resting in the now. Please bring your hands to your heart. Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityodama Amritam Gamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you very much, everyone. May our practice this morning help us in discerning the real from the unreal, the true from the untrue, that which is important from that which is less important, the darkness or the ignorance from light or wisdom. May we discern that which is finite from that which is infinite, that which is precious and fleeting, that which needs our stewardship, our respect. Namaste. I will come up where I can see you better. I know you can't see me that well, I'm on the wrong camera. Just a moment. Okay. Hi. I hope you're feeling grounded and you got some stillness from there. I can see your chats. Yeah. One of you had to go for doggy dentistry. That's a big thing. Hey Karen, thank you for your notes. Very nice to see. And Allison also, thank you. Thank you, yeah. Oh, thanks Kira.